going from left to right, Matija Gojar, did I pronounce it correctly? There we go, is from Slovenia, launched his first company at age 19, and his first job was as a ski instructor. The fact that I particularly like is he and a group hold the Slovenian world record for egg tossing, 56 meters, and during the
egg did not break.
And the egg did not break, which I assumed does, because otherwise you wouldn't get the title. And you can do the calculations to see what that is in imperial if you want. They did not, however, get in the Guinness World Book of Records.
94 meters.
In case you were wondering. Kimberly Moore is the CEO and founder of Go Together, Inc. There were a couple of quotes that she had that I really loved that I wanted to share with you in case you didn't see it. First of all, she believes in doing well by doing good. And that's the other unique thing about all these entrepreneurs, is that they're working in different social tracks. And she believes self-awareness is everything, which I also believe. Her interesting fact is that she actually did have a boss like the boss in The Devil Wears Prada. Nathan Wynn is the CEO of Money Smarts. He's a serial entrepreneur, educator, best-selling author, creator of the money simulations game, husband and father of 2 people, and saw snow for the first time about 15 minutes ago. So if anybody really wants to be a hero and has a pair of earmuffs, particularly with Ralphie on it, he would be thrilled. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with each person getting to talk approximately 8 minutes about what they feel about entrepreneurship, and then after everybody's had a chance to talk, we'll have questions and we'll have even more fun. So, awesome. Matija.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming here. This is the one panel I was looking most forward to, because entrepreneurship is a big thing, and especially if it's kind of connected with youth and with you. Now, first and foremost, I don't really do formal things, so allow me to apologize for basically telling it like it is, and maybe if I say a swear word in the meantime, I'm from the Balkans. So, anyways, I don't really particularly like the word serial entrepreneur, because it's kind of like making me look good. Yeah, I started 4 companies, but don't have big eyes, because 3 of them failed miserably. The first one actually was an online poker website, which we sold 2 years later, but it was highly illegal in my country. So again, put it into context. My mom was not pleased. But the funny thing is that this allowed me to actually figure out what my true passion is, and that was education. Because after we sold the company and I was basically being an idiot all over Europe for a couple of years, I got this call from my former principal in my former high school back in my hometown. And he basically said, "Hey, Matija, you started a company. We have a group of kids who want to do the same. How about you help them out?" And what ended up happening was that those guys created one of the very first Slovenian Facebook apps. That was a big thing back then. Made some money. It wasn't a lot, something like $5,000, which for Eastern Europe for high schoolers was a ton. And then schools just started calling all over the place. And 2 years later, we had about a third of all the schools in our country using the curriculum that I created for that very first group. What ended up happening was we created this venture called Ustvarjalnik, which you shouldn't try to pronounce or try to write, because it's weird. We had no idea this is going to scale internationally, so fuck it, let's just use a Slovenian name. But what we do essentially is we teach high school students how to earn a living by doing what they love. And the way we do this is we run a network of year-long programs where you meet with a mentor who's a young entrepreneur who also went to your former school, and that person helps you actually start. I'm not going to do more advertising for me and for our program, but because this is such a cool topic, allow me to give you a concrete story about a concrete entrepreneur who was a high schooler who did something really funny, and maybe we can use that as the beginning of the conversation today. Okay? So, I met this 15-year-old kid. His name was Peter, and if you would have met him, you would basically picture the bad guy in the class, the guy who the teacher wouldn't like because he was always throwing paper balls to the girls in the front row, not really had good grades, but certainly had a lot of energy. And that kid, you know, he was always talking to me, I want to make money, I want to do a company, I want to do what's fun for me. And so, with that being said, basically school really wasn't important for him. Academically, nah, not so cool. What ended up happening with the guy was that he had to basically do psychology again. He flunked it, and he had very good persuasion skills. So he went to his teacher and basically told the teacher, look, tell you what, how about I write a paper, 20 pages, you give me the lowest possible passing grade, you don't have to deal with me whole year. So, the teacher says yes, and in a typical fashion of a high school student, he starts writing the paper at 2 in the morning on the day of the deadline. You've all been there, right? And then something really interesting happens. As he's typing down his paper, and he's really making himself comfortable with chips and everything on the table, he had this wireless keyboard, see, that, you know, you can have in your lap. And the batteries run out. And he was like, oh shit. But then his second reaction was, wait, I've been a part of this entrepreneurship program, you see. This is a problem. And Matija told me that with a problem, there can be a solution and we can start a company. And he was like, hey, how about we start a company that makes wireless keyboards that charge themselves? Because surely you can turn that into energy, right? Picks up the phone, calls his friend, who is a bit of an electrical engineer. That was about 6 years ago. And basically the engineer said, yeah, no worries, just put some piezos on the bottom of the keyboard, piezoelectric element, you put two pieces of magnet together, they create a spark. Long story short, 2 months later, they have a working prototype, like with duct tape and everything, but it worked. So then he drops this on my desk and says, I want to make money. I've invented something, now I will be an entrepreneur. Now what? Well, Peter, the only thing that you need to do is to utilize your skill of conversation and persuasion, go to basically Radio Shack of Slovenia, which was this big chain store, get to the CEO, drop this on the table and ask for advice. So he did. And then my phone rings 2 hours later. And he was like, Matija, shit. He ordered 500 units. I need this. I need money. I need keyboards. I need a production line. I need Chinese people. Literally, that's what he said. And when that happened, basically, what we ended up doing was something very, very simple. I have no idea how to sell keyboards. He doesn't either. But what we know is that we can find people who do, and we can resource him with money and everything else needed. So what we simply said, okay, for 500 units, this is how much money we can make. For 500 units, this is how much of an initial investment we need. Here's the difference. Okay, hey, investor, you have money. This is the difference that we're going to split. And he starts talking to every single rich person in Slovenia. 2 months before his graduation as a senior, he raised enough money that 4 people got employed, and he started his company, becoming the youngest Slovenian that raised venture funding while he was still in high school before his SATs.
Wow.
Which is a damn good story. So what I wanted to say with this is, yes, obviously, this room probably believes that everyone can be an entrepreneur. But my real question is, can we teach this? Is this something that can be codified in a series of steps that others can do? Because you see, what happened with Peter was really interesting. When his class saw that the idiot from the last row, quote unquote, started a company and made a killing, everyone else wanted to do the same. So his best friend, who was probably even more of a basket case, actually came to me and he said, I also see a problem. I will also make a company. So what he did, true story, he came to me and he said, the problem that I experience is that I want to tell people to fuck off. But I am a gentleman, so I don't want to do it out loud. So, just like a referee uses a red card to take you off the field, he created a fuck off card, which is a small card, kind of like a business card that you deliver to somebody when you want to tell them to fuck off, and then you just leave. And that's the whole story. And he had a business model behind it, you see, because he saw that the ideal customer segment for that would be primary school kids. So the way he distributed this was actually very simple. In every high school in Ljubljana, in my hometown, he had a dealer who would be buying those cards off him for €0.50 and then selling them on for €1. Made $5,000, had the best vacation of his life. I would like to conclude these two stories with two observations. Number one, you will never see both of these kids in the unemployment bureau, right? If you can sell the fuck off card, you can sell anything. And number two, examples are the ones that make you start. And we need to learn by the good examples, and I hope this is what we're going to be talking about. Thank you so much for inviting me here. Really.